All right, we are now live. All right, guys, we're going to give this a couple minutes here to get some people in here. And then we're going to do tonight's topic, which is I'm actually going to shut this off real quick. There we go. Just blowing my hair everywhere. All right. So we'll just wait here. Give it a minute or two and make an IG post here. Let everybody know. All right, guys, live right now. Come hang out. Going to be on for like 15, 20 minutes. Like I said, tonight's topic, bigger bench. All right, guys, live right now. Come hang out. Going to be on for like 15, 20 minutes. Like I said, tonight's topic, bigger bench. All right, guys, live right now. Come hang out. Going to be on for like 15. All right, we'll give this another minute here. Let some people. Bigger bench. My phone, whatever, shut up. The good thing is, if any of you guys missed, we'll make it work. So another 30 seconds, and we'll get started here. No rush, I guess. Hopefully, I'm not dropping any frames or anything. So, but we'll see. All right, guys, closing in here. A couple more seconds. All right, let's get started. All right, guys, so topic of the video is my personal tips to a bigger bench press. I have some bullet points here written down, so I'm kind of going to be forced. So if you see my head bobbing back and forth, that's why. So most of these tips, guys, are not for beginners. I believe if you're a beginner, like it's your first, like, let's just say like year in a gym, I don't think you should hop specifically onto any programming or anything like that. You know, you should go do what you enjoy, because at the point you're at, you want to make the gym fun so you continue to go to it, rather than making it like a chore and like, oh, I have to go do this today and I have to go train this and I have to go, you know, so on and so forth. So like I said, most of these tips are maybe for like intermediate or, you know, maybe beginner intermediates to, you know, up till you get to the point where I am. So first thing that you can address for and help build a bigger bench is your bench frequency. Now, benching once a week, I had a pretty decent bench. I got up to 265, 275. That's decent. I mean, it's not, you know, record breaking, but it was a decent bench. And you can go decently far benching once a week. And I think, you know, especially in the beginning, once a week is more than enough. And then after you get to a certain point where, you know, once a week is kind of not really adding a lot to your bench press, then you can go. And what I used to do is I added in a supplemental day, which was a shoulder day mostly. Instead of being chest press focused, it was shoulder press focused. And then what I do that day is I do a heavy shoulder press movement, and then I do like a lighter bench day. But it was like sets of like 12 to 15 for a pressing movement rather than like, you know, 5 to 10. And also on my day that I called shoulder day, if you will, I did a lot of arm work. So it was basically a shoulder and arm day. And then I just had like one set that was, you could call it a pump set for bench. And then I switched on to conjugate, which is where I'm at now. And, you know, once you get to a point where those no longer work, you can go to benching twice a week. And the first day of the week that I bench is Sunday. Depends how you want to look at the week, but the first day I bench is Sunday, and that's my heavy bench day. And that's my, you know, singles, triples, doubles, heavy. And then on Thursday, I do what is called a speed day or a dynamic day. So I'm getting in two bench sessions twice a week, and I'm getting one that's lighter, and I'm getting one that's, you know, heavier. So I'm getting strength. And then on my lighter day, I'm focusing on technique, and it's more of a speed and force workout. So it's technique, speed, force, and also it's more geared towards bodybuilding. It's a lot more volume, and, you know, helps refine anything that I need refined. So talking about technique on my dynamic day, technique is incredibly important on bench. You can have an all right bench with crappy technique. Okay. Um, but you're never going to have a great bench or a good bench with bad technique. So, like I said, I have one day where I focus on technique because I still screw up technique. And, there's things that it's easier to learn technique with lighter weights than it is with heavier weights. So, for technique, guys, if you have any of these issues, that's a day to address them. Now, things to focus on while you're doing your technique work. Are you bringing your elbows in on the bench press? Are you flaring your elbows? If you're a bodybuilder, go nuts, flare your elbows. I don't care. But if you're powerlifting and you're lifting for a 1 rep max, elbows in. And when you're bringing your elbows in, squeeze that back. Squeeze them lats right here, because those lats are going to help you push out of the bottom. Okay, it's almost like a punch. Another thing that I never see anybody doing is working on their arch. The shorter distance you have to move a heavier weight, the easier it is. Okay, so what I did for arch work is I had a terrible arch to begin with. I took a football and I'd lay on the bench and I'd just roll it under my back and I'd arch up over the football. And that's how I got my arch to where it is. And I still think I can get maybe another inch to another 2 inches out of my arch. Okay. And then you can also look at your leg drive. A lot of people aren't doing leg drive, pushing out the bottom, drive as hard as you can to the floor and force your knees out. Okay. Leg drive is very, very, very important. Another thing that I'll see people often doing is wrist position. You'll see people rolling their wrist back, which I can't even do really, but rolling your wrist back. Okay. You want to try and keep your wrist straight in line. This should all be one line. Okay. And then finally, work on your bar path. A lot of people just like to go here to here straight up. Bar path is a slight arch towards your head. Okay. And even when I arch towards my head, you can see my lats coming out because I'm using my lats to drive that bar up. So the next thing I'll go into here is equipment. So you don't really need equipment on a bench. Okay. Don't go out and buy all this jazzy stuff just because you see other people using it. To start off with, you need nothing. You need your body and a bench and some weight. Okay. So in terms of equipment, a belt. Now this is kind of optional, and some people wear a belt, some people don't wear a belt. It kind of just depends on, I guess, your personal preferences. I wear a belt because it helps create that internal pressure. How they always say, like, take a deep breath for deadlifts and squats. It's kind of the same thing, and it creates a more of a rigid body. So I'm pressing off a more of a rigid surface, and I'm not kind of like shifting around. So that's why I use a belt. And you guys have seen it in my videos. It's a real thin belt. It's really not like my actual deadlifting or squatting belt. Wrist straps are the next piece of equipment. If you are going to go invest in a piece of equipment for a bench, this would be my first option for it. Straps, if done properly, can actually add pounds onto your bench. And there's all different sizes of wrist straps. I think I've seen ones that are like, what are the ones that I have? The first pair I ever bought were only like 10 inches. They were real small. I think maybe even 8, but I got them at Walmart. And they did Jack Diddley. I have the wraps now that are 26 inches, I believe. And they go 2 or 3 times around my wrist, and they're a lot stronger. And that can actually add pounds onto your bench because it's keeping everything in line. Okay. Finally, elbow sleeves. So this one's always like, I don't know the best way to describe it, but elbow sleeves are kind of like a touchy subject because a lot of people consider them cheating. And elbow sleeves can add weight onto your bench because it's the same concept as knee sleeves. They're essentially just forcing your arms straight. Okay. If they're tight enough. So elbow sleeves can add an additional 10 to 20 pounds onto your bench just from putting them on. But at the same point, they also protect your elbows. So, I don't wear elbow sleeves yet, but I've always said this, and I think I've said it in a couple of my videos. Once I get to a 365-pound bench, I'm wearing sleeves from then on out. I'm not making money off this. I'm not a professional. So after I hit 365, you guys will always see me in sleeves. And that's just to protect my elbows. And, like I said, I'm not getting paid. So what's the point in risking my body? All right. So now that we've kind of got the boring stuff out of the way, let's go through the programming that I used to add 55 pounds onto my bench in 4 months. So I use 2 programs that are 6 weeks long, and I just switch them back and forth. The first program I do is simply heavy variations of bench, and I work up to almost all of them are 1 rep maxes. So you guys have seen, actually it was my 2 videos ago with my bench PR was bands. Normally I just stretch 1 band underneath the bench. It's like 35 pounds extra weight, but I had the 2 bands on the sides this video. Chains are something new. They're at my other gym that I joined recently, but those are, another thing. Something I do also is slingshot work, and that's just overload work, just so I can get used to and, feel heavy weight. With a slingshot, I think my slingshot's usually like 30 to 40 pounds heavier than my regular raw bench. So that's kind of just like feeling heavier weight. Plus, it allows me to focus a lot on tricep work because the bottom part's not eliminated, but it's easier on the bottom because of the, stretchy effect. Excuse me. The only thing that I don't use in the only variation that I do that isn't a heavy single is reverse bands. Those ones, don't ask me why, but I always work up to a triple on those. And basically, it's just 2 bands hanging from a bar, and you tie them to the bar. And as the bar comes down, it gets lighter. It's similar to a slingshot, but it's a little bit different. It's one of those things. It's the same but different. But you come down, the bar gets lighter, and it allows you to press up. And as you press up, the bar gets heavier. So like I said, I always do a triple with those. I don't know why, but you can do a single. And then I just got these, and you guys have seen it in my video and a lot of my Instagram, is bench blocks. I'm not 100% sold on them for max effort yet. I have used them, but I don't think they really, did a lot for them. And then, like I said, guys, I'll work through all those variations. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5, because I'll maybe do an AMRAP of just raw weight. And then the 6th week, I'll PR. And then I take my deload week, of course, and then I'll go to my second program, which my second program is all AMRAPs in pyramid style. So first week, I'll do max effort, 5 reps. So the heaviest weight that I can get 5 reps on. And then I'll go 4 reps, 3 reps, 2 reps, 1 rep, and I have a new max. Now, something I'll do in that pyramid style is in between the 2 reps and the 1 rep is when I'll do a reverse band set. That's just an overload, still get rep work in. That's why I do it. And it allows you to feel heavier weight. So we talked about the pyramid variations. There's not really a lot more that I do in the pyramid. It's a pretty straightforward linear pyramid. And then once again, I take a break, and then I go back and do the variation style. So the most important thing about bench press and growing your bench is volume and accessories. Bench responds best to volume. It's as simple as that. And you can get a lot of volume in with your accessory work, especially off of the template that I follow. So the main accessory that got me a lot on my bench was floor press. Floor press is probably what did the majority of the work. And basically, it's just you lay on the floor and you unrack it and you press, and it stops the bar about 4 to 5 inches off your chest, which I've noticed with most raw lifters is where their problem is, because that's where the transition from mostly your pecs to your tricep take over. So if you're having trouble with that switch, I think floor press would be beneficial. And you can also do a ton of variations on floor press. You can do wide grip, competition grip, narrow grip, all that. If you want to really hammer your triceps, do close grip floor press. And also, I do a ton of tricep bodybuilding style work. I don't do dips. I know that's going to shock the internet if anyone made it this far in the live stream, but I do not do dips. I used to do dips, and I stopped doing them. My bench went up. So dips are not the answer to your bench. I'm actually going to do a full video on that. But what I do is I'll do bench, floor press, and then I'll do 5 sets of like 10, but like closer to 12. It's kind of one of those things, you know, it's hard to explain, but it's a hard 10 reps, but I'll force 12. That's the best way to explain it. Of just regular tricep push downs. I'll use the bar as opposed to the rope, because the rope is obviously a lot less stable than a bar, and the bar allows you to use more weight, which you're trying to get stronger. You want to use more weight. So I'll do like 5 sets of those, and usually like 12 to 15 reps, like a hard 12. And if I have to force reps, I have to force reps. It's not a big deal. Another thing I do is reverse grip tricep push downs. So instead of going here with the bar and bam, I grab underhand. Now, the only difference between flipping your hands this way and flipping your hands this way is if you're this way, it hits this part of the tricep, all right, that big outside head. If you flip your hands under, it hits the inside right here. Okay, that's the only difference. And that's actually, I don't see a lot of powerlifters doing that. And I think that might have been a decent amount of why my bench went up, is because I'm hitting that head that doesn't get a lot of action, so to speak, in most programs. And then, I'd do tricep or skull crushers, and I usually just did those with a dumbbell because they bother my elbows. I used to go heavy with them on an easy curl bar, but I kept getting tendonitis, so I'm not going to do something that's going to keep me out. And then if you are having trouble off your chest, like I said, mine was about 3 to 4 inches off my chest because I've always been fast off my chest. A good accessory is dead bench press. So basically, set up a power rack, set the bars on the side, and then put the bar on it so it's almost down to your chest, or at least as close as you can get it to your chest, and then get under the bar and press. The only thing with dead press is it's hard to get volume in, because what you're trying to do with dead press is you're not trying to use what's the proper term here? The rubber band action of your muscles. So as you guys, come down on the bench, you feel your pec tightening, and then you have all that energy to explode up. Well, dead bench the point is to get under it and then force yourself to explode, so you don't have that rubber band action. So you typically only want to do singles, because after you come up on your first one, you're going to bring the weight down and you're going to feel your pecs and everything tense up. So dead press is, like I said, hard to get volume work in, but you can do like 7 by 1, something like that. So another thing that I did, and some people are different, and there's a lot of people that are very different for this, is I take it easy on shoulder work when my bench press goes up. Anytime my shoulder strength starts to dramatically increase, my bench press just stagnates. So, I mean, you need shoulders to bench. They keep you, strong shoulders lock you in place. But what I'll typically do, excuse me 1 second here. 20 minutes of talking really gets you. All right. Anyways, what I'll do for shoulder work is on my dynamic day, I'll do 2 weeks where I just do shoulder flies. So just, basically like a bird, caw. And then the next 2 weeks after that, I'll do just dumbbell press. So once again, that's like sets of 10. It's not heavy. And then the final 2 weeks of my 6-week block, I'll superset those 2 with the same weights I used. And then going into the next block, I'll increase one of those 2 by 5 pounds. And that's kind of just how I've done it. So let's see here. Talked about a lot of tricep press downs, or reverse grip. All right. So final tip for bench press is you have to remember that bench press is the most weight dependent of the big 3 movements. Yes, I know there are some light dudes who have astronomical benches, but they also 9 times out of 10 have a giant arch. So, if you're not one of those guys that has a giant arch, then you're going to need to gain weight. That's the easiest way to say it. Bigger and heavier you are, the bigger and heavier weight you can move. And that's just, bulking over time. Don't rush it. You don't have to be 130 pounds a day and be 400 pounds tomorrow. Take your time. Learn the bench, learn the technique, and learn what works for you to get your bench to grow. All these tips are what helped me. Now you guys aren't me. Excuse me. That's really all it is. You guys aren't me and I'm not you, but these tips can help you. And these tips all helped me. So we'll see, try this stuff. If you guys have any questions, you can always DM me on Instagram. I always answer those questions. And that's going to wrap up this live stream, guys. To the one person who came out, I thank you. That was cool. But like I said, it's going to wrap it up. We'll do another one here in 2 weeks. Once again, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And that one I will go over deadlift because I added 100 pounds to my conventional in 6 months last year. And given my injury, I might add another 100 pounds this year to my sumo. So I think I can do a decent video on that, or at least a decent live stream. So I'll see you guys in 2 weeks on the live stream. Stay tuned for tomorrow's video. It's just an announcement video, but it's something I think you all want to see. And if you guys haven't already and you're new here, remember to comment. Nope, this isn't a video. Don't comment. You can comment. You can comment on this because it will be a video. Comment on it. Like it, share it, and subscribe. We got to grow the pound.